Hey guys, so as you know, running is a huge part of my life, and I was very fortunate to have a great running coach in high school that kind of led me through my first years of running. And I'm realizing that some of you that may be starting running, you're not in high school, you're not in college, you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s even, and so you've caught on to, you want to start running. And so today I'm bringing you my top 5 tips for beginning runners that I wish I would have known. Tip number 1 is running on a variety of surfaces. Make sure you include dirt roads, paved roads, grass, hills, and flats. This will allow you to gain endurance on all different types of conditions, and you will see your overall fitness increase faster than if you just run on one or two of the surfaces I've just mentioned. But make sure if you are sticking to roads a lot that you don't run too many miles all on one surface, particularly paved roads, because that kind of adds an added constant hammering to your joints and bones and can often lead to stress fractures. But this is only if you are running very high miles, which you will not be. The second tip I have for you guys is to make sure you find and create as many routes as possible. First, do this by going around your house. If you live in a neighborhood, that's great. You can go online. There's different apps. I know if you have a Garmin watch, you can use the Garmin Connect app and draw your own routes, and you can look at the distances. But it's important to make sure that you make different routes around your house or wherever it is that you can run at. Make sure that they are different distances in terms of your training type and the type of runs that you plan on running. You can start out very small, close to home if that makes you the most comfortable. And then make sure once you have a couple of these routes made that you are running them in both directions. If you run the same route, the same direction, your body will actually get used to running that route that way, and it can become easier and easier the more you run it. So make sure that you switch it up and run a different direction to always challenge. My third tip is to make sure that you don't commit to anything too soon. Now this might seem a little discouraging, but training takes a long time, even for a 5K. So it's important to make sure that you train long enough in the right way for an event that you would like to sign up for in the future. Like I said, even for a 5K, you want to make sure that you spend enough time training and that you don't sign up for a race too soon in order to avoid injury. You want to make sure that you've spent enough time in training and prep that you can go out there and crush it. Before I get into tips 4 and 5, I want to point out that these two are definitely the most beneficial in terms of a running career that I wish I would have known when I first started out. So step number 4 is to make sure that you don't increase mileage too quickly. Oftentimes the mileage rule is don't increase anything more than 10%. So for example, if you are running 20 miles a week, if you multiply 20 by 10%, that equals 2. That means your next week's mileage can be a maximum of 22 miles. Now, this might sound very slow, but you need to trust the process. If you increase mileage more than 10% a week, especially starting out as a beginner, you can often lead to injury. My running coach in high school always told me that you need to put miles on your lungs first before your speed comes. So along with increasing mileage, just make sure that you continue to put in those miles and you can worry about the pacing later. Finally, tip number 5 is make sure you get the right shoes. Now, this is like one of the only pieces of equipment that you'll actually need running. So make sure as a beginner that you go to your local running store or one close by to make sure you get fitted for the right shoe. I know it can be overwhelming at first to know what shoe should I get, and you can read a lot on the internet about the shoes that's a good way to go in and, think, okay, this shoe might work or this shoe might work. But if you have no idea whatsoever, make sure that you go into your local running store, get fitted for a pair of shoes. Things to keep in mind when you get there, if you know that you have wide feet, narrow feet, if you pronate or supinate when you run, make sure you let them know and they can make sure they get you on the right track and the right shoe. Now, when you do get that perfect pair of shoes that you can start running in, don't get discouraged if your feet, ankles, or knees, or even hips begin to hurt when you first start running. Not only are you doing a physical activity that you're not used to performing, but also it takes a while for the shoes to get broken in, especially to your feet. They can feel very stiff, and make sure that you give them some time to loosen up. I know sometimes when I get a new pair of shoes, and it can be the same model I've gotten before, it can take me 30 to 40 miles before those shoes fit like the old ones used to. So make sure you give them some time. Thanks so much for watching my video. Make sure you hit the like button if any of my 5 tips helped you. If you still have some questions for me about running, please feel free to leave them down in the comments below. If not, I'll see you guys next time.